All right, let's go to another Manchester team. This one is at home this weekend, though. Manchester City, they're minus 600 against our team, the team of the podcast, Crystal Palace, 16-1 on the money line. The draw is plus 650. Just like the last conversation, pretty sure I know how this one is going to go. But let's just, throw some more laurels in the direction of Patrick Vieira and Crystal Palace here. This is how they're opening the season. Home against Arsenal, away to Liverpool, home against Aston Villa, and now away against City. And in those first 3 games, 5.5 expected goals for, 4 expected goals against. That's really impressive. And I know that Liverpool had to play with 10 men for a portion of that match. But still, this team has just picked up where it left off last year, where it was one of the best defensive sides in the Premier League. And against a City team that will likely storm them like this, the odds are telling you that they're still worth a bet. 16-1 for me. This is the fixture last year that Palace upset City as a 20-1 underdog. And City actually went 0-1 win draw loss against Palace last season. So they really one of the only teams. I think Tottenham was the only other one that took 4 points from City last year. So who knows? Spurs took 6. Sorry, yeah. And so who knows? Maybe this team just matches up well, and I think that they do. And they're just really tricky to unlock. So when you're getting 16-1 on what may be the 7th, 8th best team in the Premier League, no matter who the opponent is, I'm going to take it. So I'll be riding with my boys from Crystal Palace on the money line, 16-1. BJ, what about you?
Yeah, so we've seen now Patrick Vieira 14 matches against the Big Six. In those 14 matches, Crystal Palace is 14.7 expected goals for, 19.2 expected goals against. So minus 4.5 expected goal differential. I don't think people understand how impressive that is for a mid-table club like Crystal Palace to pull off over that long of a stretch. And they've shown the match against Liverpool is a perfect example that they can sit in defensively and just counter these Big Six sides. And then the match against Aston Villa is another perfect example where they can control possession and be the aggressors and play a style that shows that they should be the favorites. So not to mention they beat City 2-0 at the Etihad last year. Now there was a red card at the 45th minute, but still Crystal Palace put in that good of a performance. And then they drew them 0-0 at Selhurst Park. And like we've already mentioned many times, this is a top 5 defense in pretty much every single category. And last season, what the biggest thing against Manchester City and how you have to beat them is you have to prevent them from creating any type of big scoring chance. Well, Crystal Palace was 0.68 big scoring chances allowed all last season. And I mean, the Newcastle Manchester City match is interesting. I think it's a perfect example of maybe not overreacting to one type of match that just gets totally chaotic. Do you really? I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Newcastle would have played that open and that aggressive if City didn't score in the 6th minute. So you'll likely see Crystal Palace employ a similar strategy that they did against Liverpool. City, like we've already talked about many times, they're slow, they're pragmatic, and which they play a lot slower style than Liverpool. So for me, I'm going to go under 3.5 goals at minus 120. I only have about 2.6 projected for this match, and also going to go Crystal Palace +2 at even money. I only have City spread at minus 1.65. It's just another example of City getting overvalued against a mid-table club that is not really a mid-table club. A club that plays more like the 7th best team in the Premier League. So Crystal Palace +2 and under 3.5 goals for me.
Palace right now 35-1 for top 4, 10-1 for top 6 still out there. I think both of those are worth a shot. Obviously, the top 4 one might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think from what we saw last season, Vieira has shown that this team can play out an entire 38-game marathon and keep this level. Like this is a really, really good team. I don't know how many times we've had to say it, but it's just and part of it is the schedule, right? Like they're going up against Arsenal, Liverpool, and City 3 out of the first 4 games, so people are not going to really pay attention to Crystal Palace in those matchups. But when they are starting to take on the West Hams and Brightons of the world, I mean, look out! This team could string together some results and charge up the table. Anthony, 3 for 3 here on the Eagles.
Yep. This will be 4 straight matches that I bet on Palace, and I continue to think they're undervalued in the market. They've had a good start to the season, but again, if I thought Palace +2 at Liverpool was too high, and it proved to be much too high, then I'm going to you can bet I'm going to be on Palace plus 2.25 now at Manchester City. I think there is something to the fact that Holland gets more space on the road. And I think that teams will come out and play maybe a little bit more when City is on the road. And that will leave space in behind for Holland to kind of work his magic and get in. Whereas I think at the Etihad, and we saw this in the Bournemouth match, teams are going to sit so deep. And it's not that Holland can't create anyway. I mean, he's an excellent scorer, but his ultimate strength, his best attribute is his pace, is his strength through, brushing off defenders. And you just don't get that many opportunities to do that in a match like this. I will be interested to see if Palace employs the Newcastle method, though. They could, if they wanted to take some chances, keep Zaha up on one side, keep maybe Eze up on the other side. It's a little dangerous, but if City really wants to play with these tucked in fullbacks where Kyle Walker and Cancelo are basically midfielders, there's going to be a ton of space in behind. Pep did the same thing last year, and Spurs exploited it the first match of the season and won the match. And then Pep kind of slowly switched tune. I think the last game will be a wake-up call, and I think Pep will kind of take fewer chances. And that also leads towards BJ's under as well. So I think this is going to be a tight game. I see it as a 2-1 kind of win for City. I do expect the Citizens to win, but again, Palace has been feisty as an underdog, and I'm going to continue to back them.